2,000 downloads.
Can you actually believe it?
That's insane.
We've had just such an exciting week. We've had that news. And then we also found out that we have charted in the top 200 for Society and Culture podcast in Great Britain on Apple Podcasts.
And so far we've peaked at 138.
Like how?
There are literally...
It was like 79,600 and something.
So many podcasts
category.
in that category, and we have hit 138.
I still keep thinking it's either a joke, like some kind of wind up, or like it's a scam. Like we've been told it to get money out of us or something, because I just can't believe it.
But that's come from you guys supporting us, reviewing us, giving us stars, both on Spotify. Well, I mean, mainly that one's Apple. So if you can get on Apple and you can give us a review, give us some stars, we'd really appreciate it. But likewise on Spotify, it all counts to getting us visible, putting awareness out there, and speaking about ADHD.
Yeah, so we really can spread as far as we can, make as much noise as we possibly can with my ridiculously squeaky voice.
Oh, bless. I love your voice.
And there's more excitement because we've got a couple of really very, very exciting guests coming up to interview.
Yeah, we do.
One of which we don't feel confident enough to say just yet because we can't actually believe they're up for talking to us.
Yeah.
And it's not 100% confirmed. And the other is we are so excited to have the other half of ADHD Adult UK, the ADHD Adults podcast, Dr. Alex Connor.
Yay!
So we're very, very excited to do that. So yeah, it's just excitement all round, really.
It really is. It's all going off and our dopamine's going, woo!
And we have something else that's happening on Monday as well.
Oh,
which
yeah.
we'll share on Monday, but you'll have seen that by the time you hear that. But you'll know what it is.
Yeah.
Shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF, ADHD as females, the podcast.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Hi, I'm Laura, and
we are ADHD AF.
Seriously. We are two neurodivergent neighbours who moved to the same street at the same time, at the same age, with the same undiagnosed disability. What are the chances?
Since discovering the enormous impact ADHD has had on our lives and the horrifying numbers of missed and undiagnosed females, it has become our mission to make some serious noise.
We want to use our voices to raise awareness, break the stigma, and share our experiences in the hope that they help others.
So join us for a chat, or as it's called up here in Aberdeen, a blether.
Trigger warning, we will be covering some really sensitive topics, so please do have a read of the description of each episode before listening.
It's important to note that we are not medical professionals, we're not therapists or coaches, we're not qualified to offer advice or support. What we will do is share our experiences alongside resources and information from professionals. We will talk over each other and we will go off topic and forget the point mid-sentence.
We are both assigned female at birth, which means that we can only speak from the experience of life as AFAB people. However, ADHD AF is an inclusive space. Whatever your gender, you are very welcome here.
Yes, you are.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF.
You know that advert where they're like, tax doesn't need to be taxing?
Yeah.
Well, ADHD tax is just that.
Yeah, you're right, it is.
I've actually got an article here from an Andrew Avery from ADHDtraction.com.
And what does he say?
He says that ADHD is the price you pay for costly mistakes due to symptoms of ADHD. Some obvious examples are parking tickets and traffic tickets, late fees, high interest debt, i.e. credit cards, and low credit score leading to higher interest debt, inability to get loans, problems renting apartments and buying cars, etc. But get this, those are only the most common examples. The hidden ADHD tax can be much higher. In fact, it is not measured in dollars. Obviously, this is an American article. It's measured in wasted time, physical well-being, mental health, personal freedom, in brackets, versus incarceration, and yes, years on your life. Here's a statistic that got my attention. People with ADHD have a lifespan say that again.
Easy for you to say.
A lifespan, and literally the most inappropriate point in this topic to be laughing.
Yeah.
But they have a lifespan that's up to 13 years shorter than people who don't have ADHD. Let that sink in a minute.
That's pretty serious.
Given that perhaps 5% of the population in the US has ADHD, this constitutes a national health crisis.
It's taken years off our life.
Yeah.
Like, quite literally.
It's absolutely insane. And it's such a big topic that when we were, diving into this, we realised we've already covered some of this in our self-care episode.
Yeah, that's right.
And it spans so widely in every area of an ADHDer's life that it affects relationships, etc. So just for this episode, we're going to focus on finances and money.
Because we have so much to say in just that department alone.
So much to say and so little money.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dr. James mentioned in episode 5 about the thing that he felt ADHD had cost him was money.
Yeah. And I can definitely relate on that. And we have an article in Focus Mag that Dr. James Brown written, and I have a quote here from that article in which James says ADHD can be debilitating and is associated with a higher likelihood of lower quality of life, substance use issues, unemployment, accidental injuries, suicide, and premature death. In addition, ADHD can cost adults around £18,000 per year because of things like medical care or paying for social support.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing, it's terrifying, it's frustrating. We had one of our listeners sent us in the poll actually that we put out on the story actually said, if you think about it, really, ADHD is a recognised disability in the UK.
Yeah.
So if we can all agree that struggling with finances is part of a disability, then we've kind of gone wrong here, haven't we? Because there should be appropriate help to deal with the financial struggles. I mean, logically speaking.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Not that I know anything, but just that's where my brain went when she highlighted that. I was like, wow.
If you have problems with impulsivity and there are things out there like credit cards, loans, and all of these things.
And time blindness for getting things paid on time, etc. Technical issues, people that are bad at speaking to people on the phone or struggle with admin. All of those things can affect your finances and in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall we dive into the poll?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we asked, has having ADHD led you to parking/driving fines? 70% said yes, with 30% saying no. Dawn, what did you say?
I said yes. I've had so many parking fines, and some of them are just because I'm in a rush to get somewhere usually, and I'll ditch my car and just not bother about putting paying for my parking. Or I will forget. There's obviously apps you get these days for parking your car.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to the
Pain
pain
display
display bit. But I did it the other week.
Yeah.
I was getting my nails done, and halfway through getting my nails done, I realised that I hadn't put parking on my car.
Oh, no.
Thankfully, when I did it, and I managed to do it without getting a ticket, but I do this all the time.
Yeah.
Your parking runs out, you forget to top up.
Yeah.
And it costs you 30 quid fine every single time that
What
you mess
about,
up.
Yeah. What about driving fines? Have you had any?
I've maybe had one or two from speeding.
Yeah.
And again,
Because you were purposely speeding, or did you zone out, or?
not purposely speeding.
So you just didn't realise?
Yeah, just not realising. And I guess, it's maybe dangerous to be behind a wheel if you're not got your full concentration.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm concentrating so hard on driving, I'm not fully concentrating on all the signs around me.
Yes.
And when you go into like an area where maybe the speed limit has gone from 50 to a 40 and then back up to a 50, that's an area that caught me out.
That's honestly, that's part of my issue. So, as I've said in a previous episode, I have never got my license, and it was that I just didn't have the ability to I could either be inside the car or outside the car.
Yeah.
You can't really get me to do both. Like, I can operate it, but I don't know what speed I'm supposed to be going at or which direction I'm supposed to be going in. I just couldn't put all of those elements together. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But yes.
I have friends that I'll say, oh, I was waving at you the other day. You drove past me in the car. And I'm like, but I was concentrating on driving. I wasn't concentrating on the people around me.
Yeah.
So I didn't see them.
Yeah.
But we digress.
We digress, as per. So has ADHD got you into debt? 76% of you said yes, with only 24% saying no.
What about you, Laura?
Yeah, it has actually. I got a credit card when I was really, really young. 19, actually. Randomly, it was to help an ex-boyfriend. How weird is that? And then I just never really understood how any of it works. So I don't really, it pains me to think back how much I spent to have that debt. It's gone now.
Free money, baby.
It wasn't a very large amount of money that they gave me in the first place, but what I paid in bills was way, way, way over that.
Of course.
And then obviously the story I told about not being able to sort out my taxes.
Yeah.
I was in the thousands for fines then, but luckily because they realised that I clearly didn't understand and couldn't figure out how to pay it, and then I got the help that I needed.
Yeah.
That was cancelled, thankfully.
That's good.
And yourself?
I've not learnt my lesson a couple of times. So I first got into really bad debt when I was younger, probably in my kind of late teens. I got credit. I discovered credit, and I'm like, ooh, I can buy all the things that I want to buy impulsively, spending, not really dealing with the consequences of that spending. And I got myself into debt. I was probably around 30 grand in debt. And I had to enter what's called a trust deed to help me get out of that debt. So they basically handle all your debts. They take everything over and you pay a set monthly amount. And they basically managed to get rid of all the interest and everything, and you don't have to pay back as much as you took.
Yes.
So I entered that trust deed and I got myself debt free.
Amazing.
And then fast forward a couple of years, the same thing happened.
Yeah.
So I started being allowed to get credit again, and things were different this time because I had learnt my lesson, but still being able to get that money and the credit doesn't help because, it's the impulses and stuff are still there. But I was in manageable debt the second time. I had a job that was helping me pay. Then I lost my job. And so the loss of that job meant that I had no other choice but to enter a trust deed again so that I could get help paying it off because I was now in a minimum wage job that wasn't paying off the interest in what I was owed. So I got myself into trouble again. And now I'm in a position where I still have debt. The car that I have is because I took a car over a 3-year period, and after 3 years, you put the car back and you can then get another one. I just didn't put the car back.
Right.
So I had to buy it outright. And I had to get help to buy it outright.
And that wasn't what you wanted to do?
No.
Wasn't your intention? Oh, no.
I mean, I love my car.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I still have it, but that wasn't the plan.
And why? So why did that happen?
Because I just ignored it and I just kept forgetting to do anything about it. Yeah, until
task paralysis.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
And so that overwhelm stopped me from doing anything.
Yes.
Until I was now in a position where it's just like, well, you have a car and you have to pay for this car now.
This is what's happening.
So I had to get help from family to pay for my car, which I'm now still paying off.
Oh, bless you. Yeah.
And so. Yes.
Yes to that. Have ADHD symptoms led you to unemployment, which follows on from what you just said, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah? So it's 50-50 here.
Yeah. I know in a lot of the jobs I've had that I could have done better.
Yeah.
And over time, my motivation declines.
Yeah.
And so I've never stayed in a job more than 2 years.
Yeah.
Like not the same position for more than 2 years. And it's because I get bored, I lose interest. And that shows.
Yeah.
The employers can tell that I'm not interested.
You're not the person that you were when you walked in.
Yeah, that I'm not putting the effort in. And that has cost me jobs.
Yeah.
100% has cost me jobs.
Have you been sacked?
For better words, yes.
Yeah.
I've never admitted this to anyone, but I said I got made redundant when in actual fact, I lost my job. I was told to leave. Because I wasn't pulling my weight.
Oh, darn.
And so this is me like admitting it. People thought I was made redundant. And that was shame because I knew that I'd lost my job through my own merit or lack of,
Or shall we rephrase that? Because you have ADHD?
Yeah.
Yes.
But the shame that, you carry with that. I told people I was made redundant from that job. I was made redundant from another job, but not this one.
Yeah.
And, so that was unemployment through my undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. I've never stuck to any jobs for very long at all, apart from my own business, working for somebody else. And I know we've touched on this in previous episodes, in that I don't know, I'm struggling to find the words, couldn't spit it out then. I just get myself really, really stressed out and worried. So a bit like when James Brown was talking about Mrs. ADHD, thinking she's going to be sacked.
Yeah.
It was that. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm doing such a terrible job. And oh my God. And then they're like, no, it's fine. We're totally happy with what you're doing. I did have one employer say that my work had dipped. Mm-hmm. And I was so upset about it because I wasn't putting in any less effort to my ability. When I look to my mind anyway, when I look back at it, I can see the difference in my work. Yeah. But at that time, throughout all of it, I thought I was doing the best I could do. And I was, with an ADHD brain. Yeah. So what has happened is that I have, and embarrassingly, very impulsively, quit jobs. Yeah. Because it's actually got to a point where I genuinely cannot cope anymore. And I've catapulted myself into mental health crisis, quite literally. I'm sorry, I literally cannot cope. I'm burnt out. And it's like, well, we didn't ask you to work all the hours under the sun, and we've never given you a hard time, and we've never. But in my head, it's been this terrifying thing. So I've had a lot of unemployment issues, actually. Yeah.
And I think I can agree with you there as well. It's like sometimes you leave a job because I know that it's either push or be pushed, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I have to remove myself before they remove me.
Yeah, like a preventative RSD kind of thing, yeah. Yeah. So, has ADHD got you into trouble with the law? 78% of you wonderful law-abiding citizens said no, but 22% of you said yes.
I'm actually a no on that, and it's not because I haven't caused any trouble, it's just because I've never been caught.
And I will say ditto to that and move swiftly on. Are you now, and this is the worst sentence I've ever written, and someone actually pulls me up on the fact that this doesn't even make any sense. Are you no stranger to late payment fees? I think my brain just went somewhere else whilst I was typing that. What I meant to say was, do you have to pay, are you familiar with, do you often have to pay late payment fees, as in you've returned something late or you've forgotten to pay something, so you have another forfeit on top of that kind of thing? 66% said yes, with 34% saying no.
Yeah, I've definitely been caught up in late payment fees. Yeah. Whether it's for credit cards, whether it's, I'm trying to think what else you get late payments fees for.
Well, I racked up that huge tax bill, but thankfully, so I got my bacon saved, but
Definitely been caught up in that. Council tax, that's another one that I'm still paying off.
Oh, right. So, have you invested money in hobbies you've abandoned? 95% of us said yes, with only 5% saying no.
Yeah, I've got new hobbies every week, Laura.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
The roller skates that you might have seen on our socials that we spoke about, I've not even put them on yet.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, you did sit on your sofa with them.
I've not been out on them, and I know that once I do get out on them, I will enjoy it. But
that's what we need to do this evening then.
Yeah. I need to get the roller skates. But before I had the roller skates, I had roller blades.
Yes.
And they cost me £270.
Crikey.
And I used them 3 times.
Wow.
But I've decided I want skates now and not blades.
You spent £270 on...
Yeah, because I wanted the best ones.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that they could be that expensive. Yeah.
And to be fair, I really wanted more expensive roller skates than the ones I've got, because I wanted the best of the best as well. But I decided, no, Dawn, be sensible. Buy a cheaper pair to start with, and then let's see if this actually takes off.
Yeah. I've got a hell of a lot of really expensive scuba equipment sat in somebody's house in Spain, I think. But that was my career, and I did do it. But yeah, I think the real hyper focus of how much of my life that took up did eventually dwindle. Yeah. And so that's all sat somewhere.
I see things and it, like hobbies and stuff, and I'll see something, I'll be like, I want to try that.
Yeah.
I want to do it. So I'll buy the things and I'll get into it, and then it'll maybe last a week, and then I'll decide, I'm not actually that into it.
Yeah.
So then it gets put to the side.
Yeah, a lot of mine has been more like on a exercise thing or something.
Yeah.
You know? Like signing up to beachbody.com or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, not sticking at that. Does ADHD affect your earnings? 69% said yes, and 31% said no.
Child.
Juvenile, moi. What did you say, John?
I said yes, of course it's affected my earnings.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's pushed me from running away from one job to the next or whatever. And in a way, sometimes that has been beneficial because I've been able to get a job maybe with a better salary.
Yeah.
And I've been quite fortunate in my earnings, but it's definitely cost me. And savings as well, you know?
Yeah. What are those? I don't have any.
Exactly.
For me, like a really obvious example that springs to mind is like, I've got a hell of a lot of stuff that I've made to sell at festivals, but like not exclusively. It could all just be online. But a number of reasons stop me from uploading that. So I've stopped and started with my website a million times. That's still not up. I've got an Etsy, but I've got some crap pictures that I took from Christmas. I've got all these amazing sunglasses that I want to put up on there. And then every day I look at them and I'm like, oh, it's not sunny enough today. Or, oh, I don't know where that white box is to take a picture of them in.
Yeah.
And I don't look nice enough today to take a picture of myself. And so they've just sat there for weeks. Whereas I probably could have vlogged them by now. Do you know what I mean? So frustrating.
Yeah.
Which I could understand to a neurotypical person. That would sound like I'm talking nonsense. But it's a very, very real struggle because then every time I look at them, I then feel bad.
Yeah.
And I feel shameful. But still I'm not doing it for whatever nonsense my brain is telling me that day.
And essentially you're preventing yourself from earning money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ugh. So, we've done that one. Would you agree that ADHD costs you financially? 93% said yes, 7% said no. We can all agree yes.
Yeah.
Well, us two can, not the 7%, which we're very happy for.
Definitely cost me financially.
Yeah.
And still does every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you lost money by not returning online purchases? 94% said yes, 6% said no.
I am so bad for this.
Are you?
Returning stuff it's like, I can't do it. I bought, I won't mention any brands or anything, but I bought something online that was quite expensive and the zip bust on it.
Right.
And I had it for like six months in the zip bust, and it shouldn't have, not for after that length of time and for the amount of money I paid for it. And I needed to return it so they could replace it. So I packaged it up and I got it all ready to go. And my friend had even said to me, promise me that you'll post this tonight, because she knew that I wouldn't. And you only get a certain amount of time to post it back as well. It sat in my car for a week.
Yeah.
It was ready to go. All I needed to do was take it to the parcel drop-off place and get it sent. But I didn't. Thankfully, I did actually get it done in time. But,
you did?
Yeah, but there's so many times where I haven't.
Yeah.
And so many parcels that haven't been returned. I'll keep clothes that I don't really like just because of the effort required from me to be able to return them.
Yeah. See, I'm actually in the minority of no, but that is purely because I have so little money.
Yeah.
that I can't afford not to. So it's just like, I'll buy things to go to something or whatever, and then I'll be like, right, check it. No, okay, send it straight back because I need the money back.
I can understand that, because now that I'm a student and I'm a little bit poorer than I used to be, I'm a lot more tighter with my budget, and when it comes to buying things, I'll even when I'm online shopping now, I'll put things in my basket and not check out because I have to be sensible and think about really where I'm spending my money.
Yeah, absolutely. What does ADHD tax mean to you? I actually have some examples from you lovely people that took the poll. Buying on a whim and quickly losing interest.
Yeah.
I paid for an emergency dentist, consumed by anxiety for no reason. Paying for something lost only to find it. That hits home hard for me anyway.
Yeah.
Or forgetting you've got something and buying it again. Forgetting where something is and buying another. So that's the same, not the same, but same problem, two different listeners. The fine print. Getting a date or time mixed up while travelling and missing a flight or train. The inevitable added cost that comes along with my inattentiveness.
Yeah.
Gosh, spit it out, Laura. Crikey. Not getting promoted because I am too emotional. Late fees because I am almost always 30 minutes late for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing clothes that don't suit or don't fit because I bought them and forgot to return them.
That's me.
Impulsively pays for everything and everyone, never gets repaid or bought for.
Yeah, I do that. I do that quite often.
Do you?
Yeah, if I'm out on nights out, especially when I've got alcohol in
Oh,
it,
God,
because you know that makes the ADHD just 10 times worse. And you just spend. It's like, I'll get the shots in. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Spring break.
Spring break. Having to make claims on my meds, but it's too difficult, so I just get mad instead. It's too difficult to cancel, so stayed with direct debits too long.
Mm-hmm.
Accidentally signing up for things, then forgetting to cancel them. It's too hard to. This is really hitting home for me, that one.
Yeah.
Do you girls drink alcohol? I'm noticing more lately. It makes my overthinking worse, sadly. We're actually going to come back to that on another topic.
Yeah.
We have a lot to say.
Yes, we do.
How do we collectively reclaim the value of ADHD tax from being undiagnosed? Well, we are going to come back to that as well. But Dawn, what does ADHD tax mean to you?
I guess it just means the cost that comes with ADHD. And like we say, financial struggles is probably the most obvious one, but it costs you everything.
So ADHD tax to me, when I think about what the cost has been to my life personally, the first thing that comes to mind is more relationships.
Yeah.
Like, even though finance is such a huge, huge one, but that is such a huge topic for all ADHDers that is its own episode. So we're going to come to that further along the line.
Absolutely.
How do we combat it? How do we rebel against ADHD tax?
Well, this is a very good question.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I know that helps me is being in control of my banking.
Yes.
That is a major thing for me. And thankfully, there are online banking apps and stuff that you can have now which helps with that. And if it wasn't for the online banking apps, I would not be as in control of my money as I am
100%.
now. The ability to have pots
Yes.
within your bank account so that you can move money around much more easier. In the past, it was like you had one account, and if you wanted another account, you'd have to open another account with another bank. But the ability to now have one account and have different areas within that account that you can move money around to is so helpful to me.
Yeah, so that's actually what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So the main thing really is about acknowledging where your problems are. So go back to the whole self-inventory thing that we're always banging on about, because when you can acknowledge the places where you struggle, it enables you to put in place systems to combat that. And as we've always said, okay, we're not good at consistency and all the rest of it, but it's just in trying to support yourself, because, you know, we're not getting the support that we need. That's the reality of it. So how do we support ourselves? And just as Dawn said, my one is I bank with Monzo.
Yeah,
and
same.
They have these pots, as Dawn's talking about. And for me, I've got my own system, which is totally ridiculous. And it does make me look bad.
But it works for you.
All the time. But it works. So what I do is, after the obvious, like, big ones that have gone out, I take the rest of my money, every single penny of it, and I put it in a separate pot.
Yeah.
And it sits there and it does not move. And when it comes to me wanting to buy anything from a coffee to groceries to whatever, or as I was with you that day in the post office, if I've forgotten, I go up to pay and my card gets declined. Okay, that's a little bit embarrassing. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because in that second that I go, oh, so sorry, I just need to move something over, and I move it over, okay, I look silly for a couple of seconds. Had I not have put that preventative measure in place, well, I wouldn't even have the money to buy anything.
It would be all spent.
Yeah, and that is also because, and this is quite embarrassing to admit, but I'm going to say it, I can't figure out what the hell apps I've signed up to and how to cancel them.
Yeah.
And believe me, I have actually tried. I've been in, I've looked at everything. I don't understand what these subscriptions are. So do you know what? They can swivel.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If they've made it that difficult that a person, and I'm not saying I'm brilliantly tech savvy, but I'm not terrible. I can figure that sort of thing out. If I can't figure out what this $7.99 and what that £6 is, that's just chipping away at my money. So I think I've got 100 quid and I've actually got 6 every month. No, I'm just going to say no. I'm not getting charged for it. They're not getting their money, and I'm going to look like an idiot in WH Smith for 5 seconds. But at least I'll be able to pay for what I need to pay for. And that's embarrassing as a nearly 40-year-old woman to admit that. But you know what? I don't care. It's taken me this long to figure it out, and that's what I'm going to do. So
that's it. It's whatever works for you. And I'm the same. I bank with Monzo also, and I find it is honestly a lifesaver for me and my finances. I get paid, and I've got a separate pot for my bills, and so all of the bills that come off of my account come out of that pot. So as soon as I get paid, I know that I need to transfer enough money through into that pot to cover the bills. Leave myself with 50 quid in my account. And that's to kind of get you through the week or whatever. Yeah. And I'll tend to try and not chip into those savings at all and just survive on what I can. Yeah. And having those pots has honestly been life-saving.
Life-changing, yeah, exactly. So anything like that you can think of, reminders set on your phone, like if you have, I'm really bad for, so I have I can't even say it, dyscalculia, I can never say it.
Dyscalculia.
Thank you. And like I realise that I struggle to take phone numbers down. The amount of times I've given the wrong number or taken the wrong number down. So when I take a number, well, the obvious one is to hand it to the person and get it to put them in themselves. Yeah. But if I have to take a number down, or if I'm like putting card details online or something like that, I have to really acknowledge that I'm doing it, and I'll put it in and I'll read it backwards and I'll read it forwards and I break it into sections, and I have to check and double check to do it. Yeah. So just little things like that. When you know what your problems are, you have to, unfortunately, help yourself. That's what we've learned.
I think that because, being undiagnosed, you don't know what your problems are. You just think that you're maybe just not very good at certain things. Yeah. And so,
or that you're rubbish at everything.
Yeah, and so you put a lot of blame on yourself. But once you get that diagnosis, once you have that validation and you understand and you're able to understand yourself better, you then have the power to manage your life a little bit better.
Yeah, to face like we said, face the places that you're falling short, which you can't even face because you're so embarrassed and so ashamed of yourself. But when you go, okay, no, I have this disorder, what does it look like for me? Because it's different in every single person. Yeah. What does my ADHD look like? To then be able to put the systems in place that you need. Yeah. And obviously, it would be a hell of a lot better if the diagnostic process was easier and more readily available. But with things as they are, and with so many of us struggling and people like yourself, Dawn, in limbo, it's okay if you don't have that official piece of paper to be able to recognise the places that you struggle, and to help yourself as best you can, or ask for help from those around you that know you best. Yeah, to ring you, can you remind me to do this? Can you speak out and get the help that you need.
And that's it. Just because you don't have a diagnosis doesn't mean to say you can't use self-awareness to help you navigate through life better.
This is a quick interruption from the future. It's Laura here. I just wanted to let you know that Dawn stepped down from the podcast to give her all to her degree in October 23. She explained all in the Series 2 episode called It's Always Darkest Before the Dawn. From that point, I continue ADHDAF solo, and I'm about to start the 3rd UK tour, which will actually be the last of this nature. I would love to meet you in real life at Alien Nation. The ADHDAF live events are to connect local ADHDers, raise ADHD awareness, and they start in April 2024 and finish in July in Scotland and England. Undiagnosed ADHD made me feel alienated from society. The shows, featuring very special guests from the podcast, explore going from feelings of alienation to discovering an alien nation. Tickets are available via the link in the blurb of this episode, also via the link in bio on ADHD AF podcast Instagram. I really hope to see you at these totally unique events, the last ever ADHDF tour of this nature. Self-diagnosis is valid, no diagnosis necessary, and I invite you to encourage the people in your life that need to learn more about ADHD from a late diagnosed perspective. So come along. Adults only, all genders welcome. If you'd like to come but you feel nervous about coming alone, please don't. Just let me know and I will arrange for a welcome party to greet you at the door and seat you with others just like you. I don't want you to miss out on the last hurrah, so grab tickets whilst they last and come hang with the gang in real life. If undiagnosed ADHD made you feel like an alien, you are not alone. There's a whole planet of us. If you can't make any of the live events or you would like to connect online sooner, come and join us in the Planet ADHD AF peer support community via the link in the description to chat to myself and a whole load of other like-minded legends the world over on Discord and Zoom. Membership includes body doubling, accountability squads, self-care club, monthly advice from an ADHD coach, blogs, vlogs, behind-the-scenes content, exclusives, and discounts on all merch, downloadables, and events tickets. I really hope to chat to you soon, either online in the Planet ADHDF peer support community or in real life at the Alien Nation Tour. So, tell me, what is the most ADHD thing you've done this week, Dawn?
Well, as you maybe hear from me today that I'm just not 100% with it and maybe a little bit more ditzy than normal, but that's because I'm on a 2-day hangover. And that 2-day hangover was a result of me deciding whether I was going to go for a cycle with my friend or whether I was going to go for dinner with my friend. And obviously, which one was going to give me the instant dopamine more? Dinner and drinks with my friend. Yeah. So we went out, and as soon as that first rum passed my lips, I knew it was downhill.
See you later.
Yeah.
What? So hang on, just to confirm, what time was dinner?
We went out at around 6, I think.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
And what time did you get in, Dawn?
5 a.m.
Yep.
I was on a dopamine date with disaster.
But loads of fun.
Oh, I had the best night. It was so much fun. So much fun. But yeah, that is ADHD AF. Yeah. And Taylor's oldest time that I've done a million times, and we will both do a million times more. Having the best time, don't want it to end. Yeah. And then
time blindness.
Yeah, pay for it for days afterwards.
And the fact that you're feeling a little bit worse for wear is totally triggering my RSD. So I've already asked Dawn 3 times today whether everything's okay, because obviously it's my fault that Dawn's okay. It isn't.
And of course I'm okay, but I'm just, just not quite with it yet. Hangovers are slightly different when you're 39 to what they were when you were 19.
And when you're neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And that is a topic we will be covering at great length in the future.
Definitely. So, what about you? What's the most ADHD thing you've done, Laura?
So last Sunday, this is absolutely ridiculous. Last Sunday, I just turned into a complete and utter mess. I was making some headpieces in the sheds, which I had to make gold. And ordinarily, I would bound in there, just chuck everything around, do the whole thing, done, 2 seconds, not even think about it. Yeah. Instead, I decided to go in there really carefully, move everything around, get everything really organised, lay out some cardboard, make it all really like, come on, Laura, you're a grown-up, you can be sensible and do things in a structured, well done way. Yeah. And when I went to spray them gold, in my tidiness and organisation, I lost the bloody mask. So I couldn't spray them gold. So I went into the house. I stood there for ages and I was like, no, I will not admit defeat. It is in this room. I'm going to keep looking for it until I find it. Could not find it. Went into the house, told my husband, and he just immediately got up and was like, I'll come and find it. And I was like, no, I don't want you to come find it. I was just saying, I'm so frustrated with myself. Anyway, of course, right under my nose, of course. Then did that, came in for dinner. came in to make dinner, and I did effectively exactly the same thing again. Instead of just like making the dinner, the meat that I was cooking had it had some liquid in it. So, you know, ordinarily you just like tip it in the sink with like the back of a spoon on it or the lid of the pan.
Yeah.
Oh no, because sensible, you know, diagnosed, medicated ADHD Laura is, you know, a real grown-up now. I get out a colander to drain the meat, and then somewhere between putting the meat in the colander and putting the colander meat back into the pan, my brain went to another dimension. I threw the dinner on the floor.
Oh dear.
And I was so upset.
Yeah.
Like I really, really was so upset, and I actually cried, and it was, you know, as we've said many times, like we are on this journey with you. We are new to this. You know, we're still trying to get our heads around, sorry for the use of words, but get our heads around the fact that we do have ADHD and what that means for us. Mm-hmm. And so I was suddenly like, oh my God, I have something wrong with my brain. That's literally how I felt. And I was, really, really devastated about it. And then when I calmed down, I spoke to my husband about it, and he was just like, you're trying too hard. Where is the logic that a person gets diagnosed with severe ADHD and decides to start acting like they don't have ADHD?
Yeah, it's not.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
There's no logic in it.
There's no logic in it. So there you go. That's my most ADHD thing that I have done this week.
Okay, so I guess now it's time for our differences. Mm-hmm. And this week we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and it's a little bit extra special added bonus material. We are going to be talking about music, and we have created playlists for you guys to listen to so that we can share some of our music with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason why we have come onto this subject is because there has been a study shown, a small study done in 2020 that says that music does seem to promote attentiveness and focus in children with ADHD. So scientists found evidence that after children with ADHD listened to 30 minutes of interactive music and 30 minutes of interactive video game interventions, the music intervention improved attention management while the video game intervention didn't.
So interesting.
It is so interesting. It really, really is. And that's from psychcentral.com, by the way, just to reference that. So yeah, we realised in getting to know each other that both of our lives' journeys have been so heavily influenced by music to the point that they're a predominant driving force in our life journeys, but in completely different ways. Hey,
so I've loved music my whole life, and I love music from all sorts of walks of life. I think for me, a lot of the music I listen to depends on the mood I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And I've been in bands, I sing, I play a little bit of guitar, and I write my own music. And
amazing.
I find it so cathartic doing that, because a lot of the time I can't get my thoughts and feelings out, and so by writing things down and writing songs, I find it a lot easier to express my emotions. And so that's why I like listen to music and words and things that resonate with me, so that it helps me understand what's going on in my head a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like it really depends on the mood what I listen to, but predominantly I'm a bit of an indie rock girl, bit of punk, you know. Whereas you're a little bit different with your music choices.
I am a little bit different. Well, first of all, let's just note that you are actually musical. So that's incredible. She's a proper lead singer, amazing vocalist, and writer of the wonderful ADHD AF jingle. So, you're actually musical, whereas I am just a massive rave nerd.
Nothing wrong with that.
So when I was growing up, again, massively indie rock, ridiculous Bowie fanatic, grew up listening to the Smiths obsessively, obviously. Then I got to 17 and I discovered house music, and it became a really serious love, passion, a hyper focus that has never worn off.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously the way that house music works, particularly the kind of music that I like, is very like positive messages.
Yeah.
You can achieve what you want to achieve and be yourself, and that kind of vibe. but also how the structure of house music, you have the build up, the crescendos, kind of like an orgasmic climactic building of stuff, and then the unifying nature of being on a dance floor. There's this really amazing quote actually just come into my head from The Great Gatsby, which is my favourite book actually, and she says, oh god, I can't even remember the line, but it's something like, I love large parties because at small parties there's no intimacy. So it sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but I really, really get it. Like, you can just be yourself, but around all of these people and nobody's really looking at you. It's just about, this kind of tribal almost being together kind of thing. So anyway, when I went to Ibiza for the first time, which is 2006, as I've told in another episode, I walked into space and I was just like, oh my God, this is what I'm meant to be doing with my life.
This is my place.
And so that's what the hell I did with my life. So, 15 years later, and a hell of a lot of rave stomping went down. And I don't regret it at all. I think that raving is just the best thing you can possibly do with your time.
There is nothing better than, letting loose on the dance floor.
Yeah. And then
it's the best feeling.
And then to the point that, not having a lot of money, being a worker in Ibiza, led me to sort of customizing my clothes or, trying to make fashion statements without a lot of clothes so that I could spend the money on actually going to the things. And that's what built my business, which I then sell stuff in Ibiza, but also at festivals because, what drove me was never money, and I was never very good at it. It would fall through my hands. But you mean I get to go to this festival? Yeah. And that was the drive, like, really. So music has been, the whole driving force. I just think that's super interesting. But the difference is that you're actually musical and I just like dancing with strobe lights.
That's fair. But, you did do pretty well on our Kylie reel as well. That has to be said.
It's awful. And you know what? On the last episode as well, I listened to it back and my voice is so high because my voice goes up when I'm like nervous or excited. And my nickname at school was Squeak. So when I hear it back, I'm like, oh my God, just chill out. Stop talking. I don't know how any of you are listening to me, to be honest. But
so what happens when you get excitable? And we're excitable all the time.
Yeah, basically.
It's funny though with music, like my tastes change over the years and stuff as well. But I found myself increasingly getting into drum and bass more.
Oh God, I love drum and bass.
Absolutely
you used to go to Fabric all the time and just listen to drum and bass for hours.
Yeah. I've never really been big into dance music. Like I was big into 90s dance music back in the day. But I think when I was younger, I was led into music by what my peers liked.
Yeah,
and it wasn't until I grew up a little bit where I was just like, no, this is what I like. And I'll find my own way through music and influence myself rather than what other people have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that was an ADHD thing as well, and that people pleasing and trying to be like,
trying to fit in, masking.
So I like what everyone else is liking, and now it's just like, no, now I like what I like, and finding lots of new music, new genres, and music's just incredible. It's incredible how it makes you feel.
It's funny. I just remembered when we went to Pride. So Guy Ingerson from the Green Party invited us along to Pride. If you saw that reel, it was just such a wonderful day. I think it was like, obviously we all know the history, the Stonewall riots, like what this stands for and how important it is. But also it was just quite emotive to see people in the streets. Yeah. I moved to Aberdeen in lockdown.
Middle of lockdown,
so it was nothing in the streets. So it was, all the more magical and emotional, I think, to see people in the streets. And then for us, because we followed the guy with the tunes, didn't we?
We did. We were behind All Night Passion.
Just because, follow that speaker. So we were behind the tunes, and the song that was really just stayed with me from that day was is it Gloria Gaynor who sings I Am What I Am?
I think is it Gloria Gaynor? I need to look it up now, but I think it is.
Where she says your life is something like your life is a sham.
It is Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah, until you can shout out I am what I am. It's just like
that
it was
beautiful,
really
Laura.
Thank you, you're welcome. It's like so emotive.
Yeah.
I think especially because we've just been doing our, obviously I understand that that's a gay anthem, so I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just saying on top of the fact that we had just done our episode about trying to unmask.
Yeah.
Like your life is a sham until you can say I am what I am. It's like, wow.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to release our playlists to make them available to you guys. So it'll be on Spotify.
We'll share them on socials as well.
But we'll share them on socials so you can find them and you can listen to some of the music that we like to listen to.
So we've got Dawn's Dopamine Boosters.
Yes.
And Laura's Ibiza Daydreams.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time stomping up and down Aberdeen Beach. But in my head, I'm in space. In Space Ibiza. Which is closed down. R.I.P. But yeah. And yours are?
Mine's just going to be an eclectic bunch of music that makes me happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes to that.
So
we hope you enjoy them.
Yeah, we do.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode. And
I think we've managed to do it in not bad time for once.
Go team! And if you have enjoyed this episode, as we said, we would really, really, really appreciate it if you could go on buymeacoffee.com/ADHD as females and just buy us a coffee, because every little helps towards hosting fees, etc.
It'll keep us going, and we appreciate it.
And we really appreciate everyone for listening and for getting us into the Apple bloody podcast charts. What the hell?
So if you haven't and you would still like to, we'd really appreciate you leaving a review, giving us some stars on Apple and on Spotify, and helping us to continue to spread awareness for ADHD and for the cause.
For the cause, yeah. And that, as ever, thank you so much to everyone who's taking part in the poll, to everyone who reaches out to us. We really, really love hearing from you.
Yeah.
You can message us however you like on socials, or you can email us.
ADHDasfemales@gmail.com.
That's the badger.
That's the one. But always, as always, take care of yourself.
Yes.
Be kind, compassionate to yourself and others, always.
And lean into your community. We are here.
And self-awareness is key.
Self-awareness, self-inventory, self-compassion, and reaching out to people and just speaking your truth. Be who you are.
Yeah.
Own it and get the help that you need.
You are who you are.
Grab your tickets for Alien Nation Live UK Tour via the link in the blurb of this episode and come hang with the gang in real life or in the online peer support community Planet ADHD AF.
And on that note, we need to go.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF.